Is that D.A.?
This is Joe Ned Dean.
Joe Ned Dean. How are you, sir?
Fine.
You're so serious. You are the district attorney in Trinity County?
That's correct.
You seem all bowed up on me, Joe Ned.
Well, I don't know why.
But you just kind of.
Well, your man called me and asked me to call you. We talked about this case we had this week, and that's what I was doing.
Well, I had a listener call in, and he says that this fellow, this James Arnez Stubblefield, is guilty, and y'all trumped up these charges, and he's going to jail for 50 years, and he's a nice guy, and he's not a drug dealer, and he didn't have any drugs on him, and all these different things. And I said, listen, I don't normally get to the bottom of this, but I can guarantee you there has to be something to it. So I thought you could tell us what there is to it.
Well, he may very well be a nice guy, but he went to the federal pen in 97 for conspiracy to distribute crack cocaine, got 60 months, and the same day, Judge Royal Ferguson signed a judgment in another case where he was sentenced to less than 60, I think it was 50 or 49 months, for distribution of crack cocaine, and then he was supposed to be on probation 4 years after he completed the 60-month sentence. And then he was arrested. They had a drug sting up here, and he had sold, I think it was 35 grams of crack cocaine back in November of 07 to the DPS officer. We had a confidential informant, somebody that they know. The officer was with him. That case went to the feds. The feds dismissed it for some reason because the witness, the DPS officer, was in the Army Reserves, and in 09 he went to Iraq for a year. We had also filed on him, which you can do for that case, and for this case we just tried this week. The case that we tried this week was a drug offense he committed in April the 11th of 08. Some 5 months after the November case in 07. We tried the November case in December of last year, and the jury stayed out from before lunch till 5 o'clock. Then they came back with a not guilty. Half of them wanted to find him guilty and half didn't, but after deliberating 5 or 6 hours, they found him not guilty on that case. We didn't have the dope. The federal attorney or the federal agent had taken the dope because they were going to take it fed in the federal court and had it tested at the federal lab, and then after the case was dismissed in 09, they destroyed that dope in 010. We didn't know that when we picked the jury. When we get our chemists down here and our federal agent, they find out, they tell us that they no longer have that dope. This case, the DPS lab in Houston analyzed the cocaine. That case, I think it was for like 35 grams, and I could have been 34. I don't remember. I'm not looking at it. This case was for 26 grams, and the jury convicted him and gave him. Of course, we couldn't put in the evidence that he had gone to the federal pen before until after he was found guilty, but at punishment we could, and they came back with a 50-year sentence.
We're talking to the district attorney from Trinity County about the case that the fellow called in about earlier, which you may not have known about, but I think it's a good representation of what's going on out there. He's gone to jail for 50 years, and he's the nicest guy, and he's never had any trouble with the law, and he's just a great guy, and they set him up, and it's horrible. And I said, there's no way on earth that happened. Now, you can be willing to believe in black helicopters if you want to, but there's no way that happened. I guarantee you they had plenty of evidence on this guy. I guarantee it's in the first time he got in trouble, and I guarantee there's a real case on him. So we have the district attorney from Trinity County, Joe Ned Dean, who's on the line with us. Mr. District Attorney, thanks for being with us, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this fella, you're telling me that this fella y'all put in jail, y'all got sentenced for 50 years. He's a repeat offender over and over and over again.
Well, there was only the two judgments, and they were on the same date, so you couldn't enhance it where it was a minimum of 25. The minimum sentence was 15 years when the jury found that he'd been convicted before. If there's two convictions prior, but they have to, the first one has to be final before the second conviction. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so it was a minimum sentence of 15 on this case, and the jury gave him 50.
So let me ask you this. They're making a lot out of the fact that you said we're going to make an example of this guy.
I didn't say that. I mean, in argument, myself and my assistant, Benny Shiro, we argued for them to let this be an example to drug dealers in Trinity County or people that want to deal drugs in Trinity County.
Well, Mr. District Attorney Joe Ned Dean, I'm getting a distinct impression you're not welcoming to people that want to deal drugs in your county.
No, sir, but we've had our problems with it.
Where is Trinity County?
We're between the Trinity and Natchez River. We're between Lufkin and Huntsville, about 100 miles north of Houston.
Okay. And how come you don't want them to deal drugs there?
Well, I hope you don't want them to deal drugs in Harris County.
I don't. I'm just letting you tell people.
Well, I mean, that's about 70 to 80% of our crime is based on people either getting money to buy drugs or robbing people to buy money or something like that. Burglaries and thefts to sell stuff, to trade for drugs or to purchase drugs. So
let me ask you this. Is the problem any better, despite all your efforts? Is the problem any better today than it was 20 years ago? Or is it getting worse?
I'm not going to. We went through a phase where we had a lot of crack cocaine. We still have some crack cocaine. This was powder cocaine. We have more meth cases in the last 15, 20 years than we did earlier. We didn't used to have a lot of meth. That's kind of the redneck drug of choice.
I was going to ask you that, yeah.
In the rural areas, I mean, and if they stay on meth long enough, it'll kill them.
I feel you might be a redneck if joke coming on.
I'm sorry?
Are you familiar with those from Jeff Foxworthy?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with let me go back to the crack cocaine. Is that any better today than it was 20 years ago?
I wouldn't say. Maybe it's a little better. I don't know that. I mean, there's been tons of money spent on it. Law enforcement has spent tons of money on it. I don't know. I'm hoping it's a little better.
Well, let me ask you this. You're talking about a guy that's been put away time and time and time again. Apparently he has a profession or he has a trade. He drives a truck. There's decent money in that. Are you telling me that you pretty much got to throw this guy in a cage because...
Well, sir, they said he drove a truck, but most people, the defense lawyer said he was a logger, that he drove a log truck. There are not many people that just drive a log truck that can afford 2 or 3 new vehicles. Maybe he's probably driving, he may have 5 vehicles that cost from $15,000 to $50,000 under his control.
What?
They're not all necessarily registered in his name, but some of them his sister drives or something like that. And, so I don't know of many loggers that can afford $4, $5, $30, $40,000 vehicles.
So you're king of the world. You see these people like this. You see people that are making more money doing this than they're going to make anywhere else. How do we stop this nonsense?
I think it's through education. That's been my point the whole time. I mean, you see a kid that's raised in the 4th Ward or the 5th Ward, and he goes to school, and his second grade teacher's driving a 5 or 6, 7, 8-year-old Ford or Chevrolet, and he sees the drug dealer driving a $50,000 Cadillac or Hummer or whatever, and they drop out of school. You know, they're not. I mean, that's the whole. I think we got to do it on education. So
you put away a guy like this for 50 years.
But now he won't stay. You understand?
Well, I understand.
He may be paroled in 7. I would doubt that he'll stay over 10 years, if that much. He's in his 40. I think his birthday's in 68, so he's around 42 or 43 now. He may be 50 when he gets out, and he may not deal again. I don't know.
But does anybody really? You talk about making an example. Does anybody else out there really say, well, I don't want to go away for 50 years, so I'm going to stop doing this nonsense?
I think there could be some. I mean, because there's been this, we've had them get by here a long time. I mean, the DPS officers came in and did this. They worked on this for 4 or 5 months, and they still may be working on it. I'm not sure. They made 2 or 3 different busts, but this was the biggest one they made on this particular. Well, they did catch another guy earlier, and he went to the federal pen for, I think it was 6 years, but it's my understanding he's about to get out. That was in 07, I think.
I'm at a loss for how much in resources we're spending on these things, and it doesn't seem to do any good with them.
Well, I hope we're doing some good. I think some of the younger kids, I don't believe it's as bad as it was the kids growing up in the 70s and 80s. Maybe. I'm not sure, though.
Well, I don't know. What did you think when they told you we were talking about you on the radio? Did you think you were probably getting the wrong end of the stick?
No, I didn't. He just told me that somebody had called in and told you that they thought this man was treated unfairly, and he didn't tell me about the trumped-up charges, but they weren't any trumped-up charges.
He seemed to suggest there were racial overtones to this.
Well, we had one black on the jury. There was this gentleman was black, but that's not. I don't see that at all.
Did the black guy want to send him away too?
Yes, sir. In fact, one of the jurors told me that he was the first one when they got back in the jury room on we can talk to the jury after they get through, deliberate after they're released, that he said, well, he's guilty, when they first went in.
If they were to make a movie about you, would you want Jackie Gleason to play you?
I wouldn't really. I don't think they'll make a movie about me.
Well, I'm
sir.
just saying if they did.
I don't need Jackie. Jackie Gleason's past tense, so I don't know.
You don't like Jackie Gleason?
No, I liked him. That's fine, but I'm just not. I don't anticipate them making a movie about me.
All right. Well, District Attorney Joe Ned Dean, I thank you for calling in, sir, and I appreciate you setting that straight. I had a suspicion there was another side to that.
Okay, Mr. Berry.
All right, thank you, sir.
Bye.
I could listen to him talk for hours. Couldn't you? That's good stuff right there. Oh, hey, John, hello.
Michael?
See, we got you answers.
We didn't get any answers.
We got answers, sir.
No, all you got was his answer.
That's the district attorney. Show some respect.
Okay, we'll show some respect for the district attorney.
Well, let me ask you this. He pointed out that your buddy's got a bunch of offenses in the past. You didn't tell that irrelevant detail.
He said, how long ago? 20 years ago?
No, he had all sorts of stuff he's already done.
Okay, the recent case, he said he beat it. He beat the charge, meaning he's innocent, right? Right.
What? No, I don't know if I didn't hear him say he beat the charges.
Yeah, he just told you he had a case in December, and they was back there deliberating for 5 hours or something, and then they come back non-guilty.
Huh. But he did have some other charges that they sent him to jail for.
Yeah. It was one charge that he went to jail for. I remember while I was listening, that's what I got from it.
Okay.
For a few months or something.
You think Jackie Gleason should play him if they did a movie?
I don't even know. I don't know.
Who would you like to play him?
I don't know. I haven't a clue.
All right, think on that one. More Michael Berry Show coming up.
Here comes the big one.
With a mouth as big as his, it's no wonder why you've got more Michael Berry Show coming up.
Yes, Lord!